Hello everybody, Dan's Trains here, and today I'm with Sam from the Sam's Trains channel, and I've brought something rather unusual to share with you all today. It's not what we usually have on this particular channel.
In fact, the last time we did this was the last time you visited.
It was, and that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it's got to be a year ago. So we've got some special O-gauge stuff again, and some people really did enjoy that when we did that last year. What was it, the Hudswell Clark?
Yeah, it was the
060
Ixin
tank?
Hudswell Clark.
Yeah, there we go. Which was a superb model, and Dan I haven't seen this one yet, by the way. This box has not been opened in the loft yet today, so this is going to be a complete surprise. I admit I've seen this Jinty, but I have not seen this one, so it should be exciting. Now, we're not going to go ahead and do the full review today because we haven't got all that much time, but we're going to give you some close-ups and we're going to give you the essentials, I think. So, how do you want to go about this? Am I allowed to proceed?
Yeah, you can open a Jinty, I guess.
Okay, so this is a Dapol Jinty in O-gauge, and that's all I know about it at the moment because Dan has not told me any more than that. So, Dan's going to be opening the other one, and I'm going to be opening this. So we've got the instructions and things, but as I say, we're going to do a condensed review. Detail pack there, just show you that briefly. Vacuum pipes. Now remember to take close-ups this time, because I didn't. So I thought, oh no, when I was editing it. Oh, look at this. So I have the BR Black version here, it looks like. Well, I'm pretty sure it is. And we have the beautiful LMS maroon there, which is really, really fantastic. Now, I'm not very comfortable getting these out because I don't want to be... I mean, if Dan rips a buffer off, then it's his model and I won't be in trouble. But I'll let him do it. So, there it is. So it is... I mean, we can't really convey the weight of these things, but it really is a heavy thing, isn't it? Is the running board die-cast on these?
I'm fairly sure.
It feels like it is, and it really does weigh an awful lot. Just look at that. So we will try. Shall we get some close-ups of this?
Yeah.
Put it up on. See if it will fit on my white background. But yeah, it's incredible just to see them in this scale. I mean, double O gauge is fantastic, obviously, I love it. But this just allows so much more detail. And what I was saying to you is that when you've got it in your hand, you can feel that even these little, what are these, sanding pipes?
Yeah.
They don't flex too much when you touch them. And, you know, the vacuum pipes, you can touch them and they don't flex and they don't break off in the packaging. And I took this one out earlier by its buffers, which you could never do with double O gauge. So yeah, really incredible things. So what we'll do is we will show some close-ups. I don't know which one. We'll probably the maroon version, shall we? Because that's probably more aesthetically pleasing. And then we'll get them running, shall we? Alright, so there she is then. This is the fantastic Jinty number 16410. And yeah, isn't she just superb? We've put some figures on here. Obviously, that isn't going to show you the scale of the model itself, but it will show you the sort of scale of the real thing if you haven't seen a Jinty before. But yeah, really quite an impressive thing, isn't she? I don't know, which one do you prefer? I think this maroon does it for me. But,
I'm inclined to agree. I think it's really nice. I think it's not really a maroon, it's very much a red.
Yeah.
I think it could be a little darker, but I quite like it anyway.
Yeah, you were saying that, weren't you? Would it have been darker in real life than this?
Well, it's a preservation livery, so
okay.
So I've seen it, and it would be a little bit darker.
Right.
But given a matte finish and a bit of weathering, which you can sort of see I've started to do on the boiler and the firebox there.
Yeah, we'll put in a close-up there. So with a bit more of that, I suppose that will give you the effect you wanted, which is pretty cool. So it's got, it's got all of the essentials, hasn't it? It's got sprung buffers here, as you can see, as you'd expect, and as I've already said, it does have a die-cast running board, we think. It's got all of the usual details that you'd expect on a double O gauge model. So you've got the lamp irons. The buffer beams are considerably more detailed, though. You've got quite realistic-looking vacuum pipes, I would say, and also 3 links. You haven't got any sort of NEM system with O gauge, have you?
You can improvise your own, but.
But it's large enough so that it's easy to actually use real couplings, so you might as well. Now, this is quite interesting. As you can see, we have sort of like a moulded interpretation of the valve gear here, but weren't you saying that Dapol have actually come up with a method of making that work on some of them?
Yeah, they have on their latest 57XX, the Dapol model. They've got working valve gear, which is which you've seen video of, and it's really quite astonishing, to be honest.
So I'm going to have to pressure you into getting that so I can see it. Right, so let's take a look around the cab area then. So in front we've got very nice, I think those are die-cast whistles and safety valves, aren't they?
Yeah, they're definitely metal.
So they're metal, and you've blackened those very slightly, which I suppose makes sense because they'd get dirty pretty quick in real life. Beautiful lining going around the windows there, which are very realistic too. They're sort of flush with the outside of the bodywork, aren't they? And they don't sort of protrude, and they're clearly not just a transparent plastic piece on the inside, which is notably better than we get on a lot of 00 gauge stuff. And we'll show you this on the close-up, but the top of the cab actually unclips and removes so that you can actually see down inside the cab, which is pretty much spot on, isn't it? I mean, you can see all the paintwork on the gauges there. You can't see it now, but the firebox even lights up, which is really quite incredible. And around the back of the cab, as you will probably see, and we noticed this with the Ixion Hudswell Clark, didn't we? There's no coal fitted inside there. Now, why is that normally?
It's generally so you can fit your own coal.
So would you say it's more of like a serious modeller's thing, so they just assume that you're not going to be wanting a plasticky coal load there, and they just give you the freedom to put your own in, which is quite nice. So let's take a look at some of the painted detail then. You can see here just in front of the tanks we've got some sort of device on there which is picked out in the gold paint, which is lovely. The sides of the tanks themselves, as you can see, are all outlined with the golden paint. I think it is gold, it's not yellow, is it?
I'm not sure, I think it's yellow.
It's yellow or gold. And you've also got the running number there, which is really nicely applied as you'd expect.
And on the coal bunker there's a lovely LMS logo.
And if we take a close look at that, you can just see how finely applied it is. Now, yeah, in 00 gauge we get super fine work like this, but here you can really get a sense of the detail in that logo.
And more importantly, here you can actually see it.
Yeah, and you don't need to zoom in with your camera or whatever to read it too. If you get close enough, you can see it. And as you can see, the smoke box door here is a beautifully detailed piece. Now, it's probably not all that obvious, but the running number here is actually on a separately fitted board. It's not just part of the smoke box door, which I suppose means you could exchange it if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a nice attention to detail. And of course we've got handrails here fitted to the smoke box door and also to the side of the boiler too. So there we go. I mean, there's loads more we could talk about on the detail here, but for the sake of time, let's get this not down onto my layout, but Dan has bought some O-gauge track, which you would have seen briefly, and we'll get this thing running alongside probably some other O-gauge goodies as well that we haven't showed yet. And we won't do a running session as such, but we will let them run, and you'll see what kind of performance we're talking about here. Alright, let's do it. Okay, so we've got number 16410 down onto the track now, and she just looks even better on the track. So Dan has coupled her up to some rolling stock. So what have we got here? We've got the box. What's this?
A Midland Railway box van, and behind it, BR Mark 1.
Which is definitely the biggest coach I think I've ever had in this room before. It's really quite an incredible thing. So anyway, we've got just a short section of straight track, well, slightly bent track, coupled up here. So she's not going to have far to run, but we can definitely get her moving for you. So do you want to do the honours and we'll see how she does at slow speeds? There we go. So that's kind of like a little bit of a shunting speed, isn't it? If we get her going. You might appear in this briefly. We'll try again, coming back in reverse. So as you can see, I mean, really quite incredibly good at slow speeds. And the other Jinty is just as good, I would say.
Having seen it run oh so much today.
Yes, we've had it running extensively. There she goes. And it's worth mentioning that there's a huge flywheel inside here. So that if you just... Why don't you just try and cut the power and we'll see what happens. So you heard the click of the controller turn off there. And even at a sort of slow speed, you can see her really decelerate slowly. Look at that. Makes all the difference. And it does also have firebox glow, does it not?
Yes.
Which works better on DCC, so I won't try and get a clumsy shot of that. But if Dan ever decides to chip this, he would be able to get that glowing, flickering effect inside the firebox. Oops. There we go. We had the coach just tipped off the end of the track there.
I don't think it did, Sam. I think it was perfectly always on the track.
Yes, it was, yes. But incredibly, it has managed to re-rail itself.
Give it a bit of a nudge.
So there it goes. Right, shall we have a little bit of well, shall we show some of the other goodies running? Do you want to Could we double head them with the BR Black version? Right. Dan is nodding his head, so we will do that. Right. So look at this. I mean, this is... Dan was just saying off camera, I should have recorded him saying it actually, but I agree, this in double O gauge wouldn't be all that impressive, would it? But looking at this in O gauge, it is just so satisfying. Get the coach going by. The two Midland boxes on the back there. Or vans. Shouldn't call them box cars, should I? But yeah, I mean, I bet they'd pull a lot together, wouldn't they? They used to. But yeah, really quite nice runners. Let's get a shot of this down on the track. So here we have something very, very different then. We've seen the Jinty, and here is another Dapol loco, but of course it's the 08 shunter, and just look at this run. So we've left the Jinty on the track so you can see the difference in speed, so these are now connected in parallel. And as you can see, the 08 even does a realistic speed, and isn't that fantastic? Now if we keep her going a little way, and then bring her back forwards towards the camera, you will see the light on the front. There we are, that should be far enough. And yes, this does have directional lighting. Although you can't really see it. I do promise it's there. But again, another really, really superb runner. And consistent runner as well. If we start them back off where they were, you can see just as the 08 reaches the end of the track, they spring together there, or at least the buffers do. So yeah, really, really superb runners. Okay, so there we are, just a little dip into O gauge there. Thank you very much, Dan, for bringing these for me and really for everybody to see.
Thank you for inviting me, Sam's Trains.
That's a throwback to last time where I started calling Dan TARDIS, as in TARDIS Rescue, and we both sort of realised that it wasn't appropriate, but didn't dare say anything. So we now call each other by our names.
Which we've done since we went to school together.
Yes. Anyway, folks, thank you very much for watching. Obviously not, you know, a thorough review this time. We haven't rated them or anything. But obviously you get the picture. Fantastic models, great fun to look at, great fun to run, and very, very different to what I'm used to. So thanks for that, Dan, and hopefully next year you can come back and we'll do some more.
I can't be heard laughing, it sounds sarcastic.
Off you go now. See you next year.